Whether you work for a major film company or just someone who enjoys going to the cinema every now and again, film is a major part of all our lives. The UK film industry has a total workforce of around 27,800 people, and counting. The media industry is always thought of extremely difficult to get into. We intend to find out the truth behind this, in addition to finding out the best ways to get into the industry. So are there many jobs in the industry? Broadcasting companies such as the BBC, ITV and Channel 4 have a lot of their products made by smaller independent companies. There are also smaller local companies that are independent and do separate things such as wedding videos and promo videos. This is where your career as a filmmaker could start, in education. These are just normal students attending a normal day at their college. They are all attending a film-based course. One day, many of these students will be part of the film industry in the future, and this is where it all starts. So what do these students plan to do after this course?
I intend to do either a HND course or going straight into the media industry as a runner.
Along the same route. Wouldn't mind going into photography or something like that.
I wouldn't really mind going into the industry. Going and doing something, getting a job. You know, start out as a runner. That's what I've been told I'll probably end up doing for the best.
So it seems most students are intending to get into the industry, whether this involves going to the university or attempting to get straight into it. Now I'm going to interview the tutor of one of these courses. Ian Killick has been teaching film-based courses for many years now. So what's his opinion on the industry and how should someone approach it?
Students will come onto these courses for a wide variety of reasons. I suppose first and foremost they come on because they do generally have an interest in film and television production. They may not know exactly where it's going to lead them, but a lot of people come on just because they like film and TV in and of itself. Some students will come onto a course like this because they really want to get into the industry. They know they like the industry. They may not know what job they want to do, but they're very determined, and they see courses like this as a means to getting a basic introduction. So they'll get an understanding of editing, they'll get an understanding of how to film something, they might get an understanding of genre, they might get an understanding of how to make a documentary or a short film. So some people will come for that reason. Some people will come because they really just want to get into the industry and they see that a course like this gives them a solid introduction. Some people, on the other hand, come onto a course like this because they've got university in mind. They want to go to university to study in the creative arts in some way, and they feel a course like this might give them the necessary UCAS points and academic training and creative training to make that jump to university. So I would say that people come onto this course, I suppose, for one of three reasons. They love the subject. That might be reason one. Reason two, they want to get into the industry. And reason three, they want to get to university. When this course is finished, students will usually go and do one of two things. One of those things is to go to university. You know, they come to an FE college like this because they want to go to university, and that usually is about a third of the group, give or take. Usually the other 2/3 or 50%, it depends on the year group, have got work in mind. They want to get to work as quickly as possible. Now, if they're lucky, some of those students will get to work for a local production company, and it's quite likely their first job is usually that of a runner. And so most people often will leave a college like this and get a job as a runner in a local TV production company. However, it's also happening that increasingly, certainly now that the digital age has taken over, we are finding that there's a third way, and that's some students are setting up companies of their own. So I'd say there's three things that people will do. University is one. Trying to get a work placement as a production assistant or a runner is number two, and the third is to set up their own company.
So what have we learned so far? Getting into the industry is not easy. Most people start in courses like these. You don't need to get to know the people, they need to get to know you. You won't be able to just dive into a job at the start. Instead, it's often recommended that you start as a runner. A runner is basically general assistant for the whole crew, and the runner's job varies from fetching and carrying to setting up equipment to even just making tea. We managed to get an interview with a small production company in Leamington called Jump Limited. Okay, so this is the Jump production company. We've booked an interview earlier.
Hello?
Oh hi, we're here for the interview we booked for 11 o'clock.
Company.
Yeah, my name's Steve Reckless. I'm the Managing Director of Jump Limited. I started on a training course at BBC Pebble. This is more years ago than I care to remember. And it was a researcher training course, so I started as a researcher, then went on to be a producer and director, and sort of, as the industry evolved in those days, you only had one job and you concentrated on it and that's all you did. But the industry evolved, so I learnt camera skills and editing skills, and eventually left the BBC, started working freelance, and then formed my own company. We're a fairly small company, so basically whatever needs doing, obviously it's my company, so I have to sort of go out and find business, I have to pitch the ideas and get them working from clients. We have, there's only one other full-time member of staff, but we obviously use freelancers quite a lot, so if the crew size grows, we bring in freelance to fill all the other positions. So I suppose I'm a bit of a jack of all trades, and I have to go out and find business. If I need to, I will do the camera work. It's only a small thing. I have a full-time editor. Otherwise, if it's bigger, we'll just bring in freelancers, and I literally direct and just bring in the business. I think the industry's changed a lot. As I said in the early days when I started in the industry, you had one job. You're either a camera person or an editor or a sound person, and you stuck to that. That's all you did. And then there was this big broadening out where everybody learnt everybody else's jobs, and so kind of. I think the training nowadays for the industry is very broad, and it has to be, so you get an overview of everything that goes on within the process. I think for people trying to get into the industry, though, it's still important now to have a specialism, to have something that you really like doing, and to concentrate on that. I think the training you'll get from a training organisation will be broad, and they haven't got any time to do anything deeper with you, and I think it's up to the individual to find out what they're passionate about and really kind of get a grip to that and learn as much about that process as they can. Certainly the people that I've hired over the last couple of years, they've always had a passion for one area of the industry. The last guy that I hired was a brilliant motion graphics designer, and he'd gone to university and got some very general training, but off his own bat he had learnt After Effects in depth and done some very impressive projects off his own bat. And I think when you're employing, you are looking for that passion and that commitment and that willingness to learn off your own bat and just get things done. Because I think when you're working in the industry nowadays, you have to do that for your whole career. The industry is evolving so fast now that you're going to have to learn throughout your whole career. So demonstrating that to an employer, that you're willing to do that and happy to do that and passionate enough to do that early on, is going to stand you in good stead. You do need that broad overview of the process, because a lot of companies now are quite small and want people who can do a variety of tasks within that company. But I also think that it's important to have some specialism, something that you're particularly passionate about, because certainly in an interview, that will give you a selling point, and it means that you can raise your skills in that particular area, maybe to a higher level. Over the last couple of years, we've probably hired 2 or 3 people into full-time jobs, but the bulk of the people who work for us are freelance. So, we might need 15 people on a big advert shoot, so if we're doing an advert, we might need a crew of 15, but obviously for a company our size, it's not practical for us to keep 15 people on staff that we would use on a shoot for maybe 5 or 6.
So, we have established that the media industry, although difficult to get into, it's possible to make some headway if you are hard-working and determined.
Progress in this industry, I think a student needs drive, determination, energy, and I think a willingness to sort of throw yourself in at the deep end and tackle pretty much any job that a company asks you to do. So I suppose if you're proactive, if you're sort of willing to give it a go and have got lots of energy, you'll go far.
We have also found that there are many different paths to try, whether it's university, trying to head straight into the industry, or even starting up your own company. Either way, it's possible to get into as long as you've got the right attitude and skills.